So tonight I'm breaking down who's benefiting off this Epic app and why you're not. I also break down and reveal my top 5 streamers to watch and why you should not only go into their stream and support them, but also I always say in here that I want you to go in these streams to understand and learn from behaviors and patterns that you see, right? Because there's nothing new that's under the sun. Press record here. All right, so I'm recording this for those of you who are a part of my newsletter and you look forward to some of the insights that I share when it comes to insights on Epic, insights on marketing, and just insights overall as a streamer and creator. Because at the end of the day, you know, we can use as much information that we can when it comes to this Epic journey. I will say this: today's show is going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting because, for one, you know, after that first show on, let me see, last Sunday, I discovered a few things. I discovered quite a few things. One, you know, this Epic journey obviously is a different journey than any other platform that you may have ever been on as a creator, whether you a creator by virtue of posting clips or a actual streamer itself. If you have any questions throughout the show, definitely drop that in the chat. As a matter of fact, market yourself inside the chat. But right now, we need to wake this room up.
Tim.
Yeah.
Do I have permission to start the show?
Go ahead.
Initiating.
I need y'all to wake this room up right now.
Put a fire emoji in the chat.
Put a fire emoji in the chat. Put a fire emoji in the chat. We got to wake this room up. Put a fire emoji in the chat. Hey, look, I got a great, wonderful show for y'all. And at the end of the day, I want you to use this data to your advantage. Tap the screen as fast as you can. Help this show move up the ELP. I'm going to show you how behaviors and tactics work.
System corruption detected.
Let's go.
To continue this life,
let's go.
You must throw relics as fast as you can. Feed the algorithm.
And now we can start the show.
You're listening to and watching Tim's perspective on your epic journey. Remember this: men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Let's go. Let's go. Tim's Perspective Show. If you're not in here, you're missing it. You're missing out on valuable data and information and behaviors.
Enjoy the show.
Wow. So, again, if I have not already mentioned this show is going to be epic. My goal right now on this show is 10K diamonds and 20K likes. 10K diamonds and 20K likes. So tonight I'm breaking down who's benefiting off this Epic app and why you're not. I also break down and reveal my top 5 streamers to watch and why you should not only go into their stream and support them, but also I always say in here that I want you to go in these streams to understand and learn from behaviors and patterns that you see, right? Because there's nothing new that's under the sun. A lot of times when it comes to, you know, this data, which we're going to get into this epic snapshot right now, you know, I see behaviors and certain patterns that most people will not be able to figure out these patterns unless they are actually looking at the data. And I can always tell who understands their data. It's very easy. So this epic snapshot is all about, how much money is in the market and who's controlling it. And we always like to look at, the top 9 share and the total money, how much money is actually showing up inside of the market. That's one of the things that we really want to understand. So let's pull this up for a sec here. So when it comes to this epic snapshot, let's look at the total diamonds. First and foremost, this week was hot. Over the last 5 days, there was 78,351,700 diamonds thrown out. That is a lot of diamonds out in the market. And at the end of the day, I always say this: you want to be on an app where the money is flowing and the app is growing. And I can tell you, because I'm looking at this data all the time, every single day is when I do this. Every single day, I know that this app is literally growing. And we just had a recent event whereby there was a lot of new streamers who joined the app. And I often look at these, analytics. Let me clean my face off there. I often look at these analytics and, I think to myself, where could a new streamer fit in to this epic conversation? And I think that it's a big enough space here on Epic to still survive, even when there's higher and top streamers in this conversation when we talk about, the top 9%, right? But let's look at a few things. Because of that diamond gross that we see there, the estimated gross payout has been, now this is just estimated, $626,813. That is a lot of money in 5 days. And let's take out the challenges of, all of these streamers have different level and tiers, which they are paid out. But let's just say 80% was taken out of that. Let's say 80% was taken out of the $626,000. That's still an estimated payout of $501,000 estimated for the top 100 that filtered through that board, right? That's exciting. Isn't that amazing to be on an app whereby you are part of something that is actually not only generating entertainment, but generating income at the same time? So let's talk about the top 9%. Now, this is a control number that I use. And I always say this: the top 9% shows you the most volume that the app is now doing inside of the top 100. But you have to look at the full picture of the top 100 to see how the app got there. So look at the top 9% to understand where all the volume is, but then go back and look at the top 100 to see the journey of how we got there. So when we break down this rank share, we really want to know where the money actually sat. I mean, so let's take a look. Where did the money go? Let's take a look at let's look at the 1 through 9 ranking. So ranks 1 through 9 did about 30%. And that 1 through 9 held an estimated payout of about $148,925. Then ranks 10 through 25 held about 23% of that market share. And that's an estimated $115,503.36. Then ranks 26 through 50 had a share of 22%. That's 109,000 estimated. Then if you look at ranks 51 through 100, they had an estimated of 25% share of that 127,000 estimated payout. This is where you have to understand where you fit in inside of this epic market. Now that you see the numbers, how do you fill the gaps? First and foremost, if you have not already started the movement in your space to create community, to go out to other lives, to show appreciation to the community so that you can build rapport with other people and market and get out there and show people that you are actually visible, this conversation doesn't even matter because you won't be able to move up the ELP, which I will say most people miss the fact that you have to study the ELP before you actually push that live button as well. There's a lot of nuance to the ELP, and we don't know every little factor about it, but we do know this. Your engagement, your activity, and your viewers in your live matter. It matters a lot. And so when we talk about that top 9 share, and we want to get there, but when we look at the rankings, we can see that we don't have to be in the top 9 to actually produce and make money on this app. Let's talk about what all this really means. So you can break this down for, your epic journey, because at the end of the day, I don't want this data to go over your head. I want this data to be so simplified that you see, oh, wow, I'm actually closer than I thought I was. Because when you see all of these big numbers, sometimes you think that you're so far at the bottom that there's no room for you to actually grow at the top. But, this was a deeper market than last week. And that's what I want to show you. And if you was in this conversation last week, you knew, hold on, let's wake this room up really quick. Hey, if you just joined me, put a fire emoji in the chat. If you just joined, put a fire emoji in the chat. Let's wake this room up.
Put a fire emoji in the chat.
Help this show get we got to get to the top of the ELP, y'all. Like, people got to hear this information. People got to hear this information. Tap the screen as fast as you can. Tap the screen as fast as you can. Here we go. Here we go. I got so much more to share.
System corruption detected. To continue this live, you must throw relics as fast as you can.
You can throw relics
Feed the
or
emblem.
icons. Relics or icons. And then we can start the show. So
Forecast.
let's talk about this epic forecast. And appreciate everybody joining the live. So this epic forecast, let's take a look at it. I'm excited to really share this information for 2 reasons. One, I started back in January, it was about January the 5th. And when I first started on the app, I didn't particularly join the app to go live. I wanted to just mainly just post, videos and give the insight that I'm giving you right now. But here's what I've been seeing consistently from this app, even when there has been slow moments. Right now, this week has been on fire. We are in a hot week right now. This is an absolutely hot week right now. The top 100 this week has thrown out 78 million diamonds. Do you understand what that means? We are up 17% versus last week. We are up 17% versus last week. If you're on this app right now and you don't understand the transition in wealth that's happening, I don't know what to tell you. This is where you want to be. You want to be on an app that has the money flowing and the app is growing. When I look at these numbers, I see opportunity. I see opportunity. So when I click that go live button, that's why I don't care if it's 100 people in the room or literally I'm talking to one person in the room that day. I'm going to run my show exactly like if there was millions of people inside the room. And that's what I encourage you to do as a creator as well, because we want to understand how the market works. Yes. But also we want to understand how the psychology, content, and entertainment work in correlation to that. That matters. So let's talk about this. So, this market segment is really about how the money increased, how the pressure was built, and also, how we start to separate in terms of seeing the streamers on the ranking board. Because sometimes you can look at that ranking board and because it doesn't have all of the data and the numbers that I'm showing you, it's kind of hard to tell the story behind it and how, those streamers actually got there. And that's what I'm here to break that down and show you and give you insight on. So because this was a hot week, the diamonds are flowing and there's bigger swings that are more likely to happen even in the coming week. Yeah. Again, the top 9 share was 30%. And by the way, folks, this data is through 4/18. This is recent updated data. So this is telling you that there is a big movement on this app and you might want to be a part of that. You might want to be a part of that. So let's talk about a few things. I want to bring something up here. So if this market is hot this week, let's look at who's rising and who's cooling off, because, not everybody can be up at the time that everything is, growing in the market. But we also can look at the data and grab insights on how to get up there again. So if you're in the cooling off spot in one of these segments, that doesn't mean that, you're doing something wrong. It's just you need to re-engage what you're already doing in your life. And I'm going to share some ways in how you can do that as well. So let's look at this. Let's look at this. So right now, heating up is Foley Farms, ranked number 9. Their last move was at 275,000. That's a plus 502% in diamonds. Now, I don't know what they were doing in their room. Most of these may have been battles. So battles typically produce really, really high numbers, really, really high numbers. So that's what you want. You want to battle. You want to do all of these things that is going to, increase the engagement inside of your room. So then we have power. Now, power last move was at 117,000 and they had a plus 108% increase from their last move. Now, by the way, y'all, this is over the last 5 days. This is over the last 5 days. So I can give or take a projection here and say that they're going to move about to 296K if they're still doing what they're doing. Right. Another person to watch, Pretty Face. Pretty Face. Their team, their community, doing well, supporting each other, getting out there and being able to actually do something of, substance inside of their rooms to get people engaged. That's what you want. And I love to see it. I love to see it. Then there's the Juicy Cat. The Juicy Cat. I actually like that name. So Juicy Cat last move. So right now they were at rank 27. And by the way, if you don't know, the Epic rankings, they reset every 24 hours. So just because someone is heating up right now, that was reset and gives them another opportunity to redo that all over again and get better numbers. But the power of data allows us to see the behaviors, because if we can see over the last 5, 14, 30 days what their patterns are, we can give some predictions on how their audience and their community is actually showing up. Men lie, women lie, data don't. So let's talk about who's cooling off. Who's cooling off? Now, these are creators who are cooling off, but cooling off is not failure. You just need to get your rhythm back. You need to get your rhythm back. And when you see that down arrow, that's not the exact rank that I'm predicting them to go down. That's the strongest downside signal inside this model, which I created to calculate all of this. So you can see, these folks are slowing down. So King D last move was at negative 460K. So they're down 87%. Then Whitetail down 88K. Big Lambo down 804K. And typically what I see in the data, and this often happens because you may have a battle on one day, right? And you ask your community to come and support you in that particular battle. So you tell everybody to go all in, right? So when they go all in, you may not be able to ask them to do the same type of all in on the next day, which makes sense, right? Because we can't over exhaust our community. We can't over exhaust our viewers. People have to reset their pockets. People won't be able to do that every single day, unless, of course, they got it like that. Then we have TS Prez legs, which I've saw. I've seen this streamer in the data quite recently, and so their last move was at negative 130. So they're going down, but at the end of the day, these are just momentum based calls. It does not mean that they can't change their behaviors in order to get back onto the up side of this market. All right. So let's talk about epic streamers. And this is actually the part of the show I actually love the most, because just like I said, I'm all about the streamers on this app because I understand where you have the greatest streamers, you're going to naturally bring people towards an app. And then what happens is the love and the share of the market grows from there. And a lot of times you may get on an app, not necessarily this app, but an app that may have an influx of streamers but no viewers. And it may seem as if you are not moving, but I can assure you this: you can teach and you can start to show your viewer how to engage with you. And so that's what this show is all about. This show is here to show you how to engage and teach your viewer how to engage with you. Because is it not our responsibility to do that? Yes, it's definitely our responsibility to do that. Oftentimes, and this happens a lot, and this is why I don't really subscribe to, a follow for follow theory, because even right now, I'll use real world scenarios. Right now, this is why I try to keep my follow count low, because if I'm not able to actually go out and support the people that I follow because I can't be everywhere and every place at the same time, what would be the point of me following thousands of people if I'm actually not going to do anything with that follow? I literally have 50 plus people that I'm following right now. And still to this day, I still don't know all 50 of those people. So what happens is if I add another 50 on top of that, now my list gets even taller. Now I got to go back. And this is just how I operate. And I got to go research all of these people to understand what they do and understand if this is something that, I actually want to be a part of, or they may run a business that I may be able to, help them out, or they help me out. But how can you do that when you have so many people that you follow? It just does not make sense. You cannot be all of those places at one time. And till this day, I have not seen all of those 50 people inside of this live stream till this day. So I beg to question, do followers even matter? And the answer to that is actually, that was a rhetorical question, by the way. The answer to that, in my assessment, is no. It does not matter. This is why I believe apps should go with the psychology of subscriptions versus followers, because people subscribe to experiences, personalities, and entertainment. When someone follows you, it's just a cold follow. It does nothing. It does nothing. And you know that is doing nothing, because if you follow thousands of people and none of those people have ever been to your live or ever engaged with your content, what is the real reason for the follow? And I'll tell you this. I'll tell you the reason. It's because people like vanity metrics. People like to see that there's a count and there's a logged number behind what they're doing. But at the end of the day, it means nothing. So just something to think on, and another perspective to add to how you should also move when you're thinking about how to go on your epic journey. Now, Big Stepper was rank 1 yesterday at yesterday's close, and they ended at 811,000 diamonds thrown, that's pretty great. That's incredible. That's definitely incredible. And right now that I know of, there are a lot of battles going on right now. There's a lot of battles going on in the epic community. It's great to see. And what I always like to do is I like to, even on these nights where there is a lot going on, I like to challenge what's going on in the environment. I want to see, do people have preference for me? Because that's what you need to figure out. Do your viewers have preference for you? They will tell you by virtue of their behavior. So it should never matter if you are giving value to viewers or your community, whether or not they show up for you, because they will show up for you whether or not there's thousands of battles going on or there's a day where it's nothing going on. So test. You have to test, and you have to see where you stand in the mindset and the psychology of your viewer. Because 9 times out of 10, if they're only showing up on slow days, you're not a preference for them. And the only way you can do that is just really testing out your market and going live at different times, and then figuring out a time after that you're going to focus on. So let's look at this diamond count. Let's look at this diamond chart. Now, this is Big Stepper's diamond chart, which is pretty, it's pretty extreme. You could see that on 4/14, they had 60K in diamonds. 4/15, they moved up to 97K. 4/16, They moved up to 143. I mean, this is a strategic climb here. Then look at this. That is, you see this line here. I mean, that is movement there. That is for sure movement. And this is the type of stuff that you want to look for when you want to understand who's trending, what's trending, what they're doing, how to get there so you can see what's happening and you can understand where to go in terms of, or what to do in terms of your life. Yeah, there's a lot of great data here. There's a lot of story in this, a lot of different stories that we can hold ourselves accountable to. So let's look at their supporter signal. I want to see something here. Let's do a loyalty check. So I have a way to showcase a loyalty check on some of these streamers who do big numbers, because I like to understand, how often the viewer is showing up for this creator, or how often they need to show up in order for them to continue to, not only continue with their badge, because on Epic, you do have a badge that you have to be able to reach that potential every month. But you also have, you have tracking of numbers that you have to keep up with so that that you can reach that badge by the end of the month. So, the loyalty check helps with that, right? So right now, Big Stepper, let's talk about Big Stepper. Let's reject this. Right now, Big Steppers, their audience showed up 20% of the time over 3 days in this window. So this window is 5 days, by the way. When I always mention window, I'm talking about 5 days. So 20% showed up 3+ days in this window. That's actually pretty good. And if we go back up to that line graph, we can actually see the story behind that. That's your 20% right there. And that's all you need to finally get that big gap behind you, that big fight behind you to finally go number one. So we've talked about and shared a lot so far. And matter of fact, I want to make sure that everyone knows that there's a link in my bio. And if you would like to, get insights on these types of rankings when it comes to the Epic framework that I use, you can go to the link in my bio. And there's a few things that you get when you actually sign up to my newsletter. Is just not a newsletter. It's also a platform, and I call it the Epic Rank platform. So you get a EOP framework guide, and you also get, an opportunity to see how you can use a diamonds calculator to actually plan out your goals. So you're turning gifts into real money by virtue of payouts and numbers. Also, you get a support goal builder, and that support goal builder helps you to understand exactly. I'm talking about exactly down to one diamond, how your team needs to help you in the next battle, in the next day. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It allows you to understand what to do next. And lastly, you'll also get execution scripts. And these are simple phrases you can use during your live to run your battle and your push. That's how you become great on Epic. So I want you to go out in the Epic streets and be great. And my job here is to do two things. My job is one, I'm here to support you as a streamer. And then two, I'm here to challenge you as a streamer. And I do that by virtue of the numbers. So it's been a wonderful journey so far. And, I look forward to doing a lot more here on Epic. And I think that over time, as people start to learn what I do and I start to build my name on this app, people are going to see how much value having this knowledge and this data behind what they already do will help. It's an interesting journey. Y'all should try it for sure. Here we go. So this game is called Real or Cap. This game is called Real or Cap. And I want you to tell me, is it real or is it cap? And we'll be able to understand whether or not you understand this epic journey. All right, real or cap? The estimated diamond count over the last 5 days was 90 million. Real or cap? Real or cap? Cap? That was the right call. The 5-day estimate was 78 million. That was the right call. All right, real or cap? The top 9 share was 30% of the total diamonds. The top 9 share was 30% of the total diamonds. Real or cap? Let me show the question just in case. The top 9 share was 30%. Listen to the question. Of the total diamonds. Real or cap? Real? That's the right call. That was the actual top 9 share. Remember, we always look at the top 9 share. Always, always, always. Okay, next question. Real or cap? E. Marie is on the breakout radar this week. E. Marie is on the breakout radar this week. Real or cap? This week was classified as slow by the weekly market read. This week was classified as slow by the weekly market read. That is cap. That's the right call. It was a hot week because we had so many streamers actually joining the app and going live. Next question. Real or cap? The total diamond count is down this week versus last week. The total diamond count is down this week versus last week. That's cap. Right call. So it's actually up versus last week. A great plus 17%. Now that's epic right there. 17%. All right. So real or cap? 250 viewers only matter if retention is high. This is a tough one. 250 viewers only matter if retention is high. Real or cap? Let's go cap. That's the wrong call. The platform expects a high level of engagement relative to your viewers. This is why you need to ask for taps. Here's the proof.
Expectation is when you have 250 people in your live stream, it knows that it should be 120,000 likes. If you got 250 people in your live stream and you have 1,000 likes, down the ELP you go. All right.
That's very important. The platform expects a high level of engagement relative to your viewers. Remember that. It's going to come in handy. Real or cap? A new gifter is worth more than a diamond in ELP scoring. A new gifter is worth more than a diamond in ELP scoring. Let's go, Cap. That's the wrong call. Here's why. A new gifter is worth 100 points. A diamond is worth 1 point. So a unique gifter equals 100 points. Let's listen to it.
You on the ELP, yes. Or to go popular. That's a great question, guys. Do relics push you up on the ELP? So let's talk about the ELP right quick. Let's talk about the ELP and how to rank up higher on the ELP, okay? All right, so what's going to happen here, all right, is unique gifters. Relics themselves, they do help. But let me explain why they help, okay? And maybe you'll understand a little bit better, okay? First of all, number one, it is a diamond, okay? And that does go towards the algorithm. The second thing it does is it counts as a unique gifter. All right. So you send one, that is one what we call a unique gifter.
And by the way, folks, this is from the owner of one of the co-owners of the app, Brandon Haynes. So at the end of the day, this information is coming directly from the source. All right, so next question. Real or cap, a viewer is worth more than a tap in ELP scoring. Let's go real. That's the right call. A viewer is 1 point, tap is 0.5 points. But remember, it's not a total formula, right? It's not looking at you have 50,000 likes or taps in your stream and all of a sudden you're supposed to go up. No, it's all about the engagement, the number of viewers that's in your room, and how active each one of those viewers are in your room. If you got 103 viewers just looking at you doing nothing, then you will be at the bottom of the ELP, which is not a great place to be at all, because you get no engagement from newer viewers that's coming onto the app. All right, so real or cap, auto tappers will boost you faster up the ELP. Auto boosters will boost you faster up the ELP. This is real or cap? Cap. Actually, it's a blend of real or cap. So the algorithm doesn't look at your total number. It looks at how many people are in your room and likes in 1 minute increments. It looks at the total number of people in your room and how much they are engaging in 1 minute increments. Now think about that. If it's in 1 minute increments, that means people need to be doing stuff all the time. But we all know that most people who are viewing, they're probably going to be looking at, TV while they watch you or listen to you. They're going to be doing so many other things that we have to teach them how to run the show with us. It's our job to do that. All right, next question. Real or cap? 100 relics for one person equals 10,000 points in your live. Just do the math. If you send 100 relics, that's 10,000 points. Is that real or cap? Let's go with cap. Only the first time someone gifts counts as 100 points. Unique gifter. Code word, unique gifter. After that, every relic is just 1 diamond. So relics equal 1 point in this real or cap scenario. And that's really important. That's really important to understand. So as we close this live out, I think that, there's 2 takeaways that I want you to understand from this week. One, the market is hot and it's time for you to get on board your epic journey. But 2, before you get on board your epic journey, you need to go out, build community, think about the data, think about the psychology of what's happening in the environment here on Epic, and then also market yourself. And we all know, maybe some of us don't know, but marketing is a stem and a cousin to psychology. So they go hand in hand. So if you're studying one, you got to study the other. At the end of the day, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. And I'll see y'all next time. This is Tim's Perspective. Have a good day. If you're not in here, you're missing it. You're missing out on valuable data and information and behaviors.
Enjoy the show.